serious. Scientists have read it. What is something you desperately want to experiment with, but will make you look like a mad scientist? I want to take DNA from infamous serial killers like Dahmer or Albert Fish or the like, clone them, then have the baby raised in a normal, supportive, loving family. I'd study the kids all through adulthood to see how much is nurture and how much is nature. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is how you turn a mad scientist into a dead scientist. I'm a physician and I would love to see how far the placebo effect really goes. For those who are not familiar, the placebo effect is an unexplained phenomena where people who take medications that aren't real, but they believe are real, have an actual measurable effect on their illness. People with depression who take sugar pills report feeling happier. People with pain who take sugar pills report a decrease to their pain, etc. I've seen even crazier ones where people think they are having surgery for their bad knee, but the docs just put them under, make an incision on their knee, do nothing, sew them back up, and patients report improvement to their bad knee. So part of me just wants to explore this shit to its full extent. Can we treat chronic illnesses like arthritis, lupus and bipolar disorder with just placebos? What about viral illness? Can you imagine if someone's HIV viral load decreased while they're eating Skittles thinking it's a new miracle drug? But it's pretty much just fantasy. You'd have to take two groups of HIV positive individuals, give one real medicine and the other one Skittles, and this is profoundly unethical. Edit. For those of you who are saying that's how clinical trials work, the answer is not really. According to the article 11.3 of the Declaration of Helsinki, which is the ethical guidance of clinicians overseeing clinical trials, it is unethical to use placebo arms if there exists a proven medication for the condition. If you are testing a new drug, your control group is whatever the best treatment available on the market, not a placebo. It's very rare that a disease/condition has no effective treatments out there that would justify the use of a placebo to measure clinical effectiveness. In my HIV example, this is obviously not possible. We have meds that lower HIV viral load. I want to do a long-term case study on children's microbiome. It would start with samples of their mother's microbiome, and then when the child is first born, get a sample of this, compare it, and continue comparing the two samples throughout breastfeeding versus bottle feeding. Also get a detailed comparison of how the microbiome changes after vaccinations, sickness, antibiotics. I would basically study every single poop this child has, their eating habits, their health conditions, any medications, vaccinations, etc. for years. But people want privacy, and most wouldn't want to commit to keeping such accurate accounts of their children's food/health/activities. So it's likely that, even if I did this study, it would be difficult to prove all variables were accounted for. And with all the variability, I would need many children. The end goal is to see how our microbiome changes throughout your childhood, and note when you may be more susceptible to things depending on the type of microflora you have. Everyone has a different ratio, so essentially if we can harness the individual's capability of unique flora, we could find a whole new way to tackle illnesses and preventatives for sicknesses that would have significantly less side effects than many other medications. This idea stems from others studying the microbiome and finding that certain ratios of microflora can cause you to get over illnesses quicker when combined with the right medicine, and also help digestive tracts regulate better. But so far these tests are being done with cancer patients. I think if we are able to see how children are affected, it may bring less possibilities of cancer and other illnesses down the road, as well as a faster recovery time. Edit. Everyone telling me to have a kid or become a nanny and collect it. No. The point of this study is it needs to include thousands of participants. Experiments with social isolation intrigue me. Raise a child with no language and see what happens. No contact. Wild children give us some insights, but also a sample of the kind of trauma this can produce. Completely and undeniably unethical. Incredibly cruel, but so intriguing. I want drug Olympics, where everyone using something to enhance performance, to see true limit of humans. I would really love to have a hunk of plutonium in the attic above my bedroom. I mean, the right amount would have to be sussed out first, of course. They found that some buildings in Japan had been made with irradiated steel from stockyards near the blast zones of either Hiroshima or Nagasaki, and the people that lived in them had abnormally long and cancer-free lives. Presumably because, oh, there's a scientific term for it where your body comes into some kind of homeostasis with snake venom over long enough exposure to small doses. They think that's what happened with those people and the radiation as well. Their bodies adapted to it and became far less prone to have cancer because of it. Also, it would lower my heating bill in the winter. Plus, I really wish we could just use breeder reactors as well. Honestly, I think the government should give them away to property owners, as it would benefit the United States greatly to have a populace of people off the power grid, powering themselves independently and greenly with a stable power source that will last 100 plus years for their needs. The economy would benefit, people would be more able to afford housing, and emissions would go down. Transferring consciousness to a computer so we can live forever. Or reproductive cloning so everyone can have their own organs for transplantation. I mentioned this in stem cell class one day and I've been the weird girl since. A blue dog. Just a blue dog. Naturally colored blue. No, not like a grey silver blue, but a real nice neon teal blue. Well, I'm not exactly a scientist. Just a student studying it, but I still really interested in speciation and evolution. I remember watching a documentary about Hiroshima, I think, and how the insects have went through about 40 generations, so they have adapted to the point where they can filter out radiation, but the horses in the area are filled with it cause they haven't had much generations in the radiation. I wouldn't say mad scientist, but medical privacy laws get in the way of a lot of incredibly useful research. Everything has to be so de-identified and confidential that it makes doing any sort of large-scale statistics nearly impossible. You have to make a ton of assumptions because you can't know many details. If I had full access to everyone's medical records, we could probably fix a whole lot of shit. Subscribe and like the video and this doggo will bring luck to your life.